Привет, YouTube.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can
Yeah.
hear you fine, sir. We cannot
Okay,
see you.
great.
Now
There we
we
go.
can see you well.
I switched some systems around, so
Perfect. Well done, sir. We can hear you. We can see you. Everything is perfect.
okay. Apologies for that. It's my first time on Telegram.
It's always like that.
It's okay. It's all right.
First time, it's always a hard one. So it's 10 a.m. at your side, isn't it? Early morning
Yeah.
still.
Yep.
Are you in USA or traveling or?
I'm in the USA right now.
Okay. Декстер говорит, что он сейчас в Америке, у них 10 утра, и это его первая попытка зайти в Telegram, поэтому есть небольшие сложности. Но вроде как у нас все получается, так что можно приступать.
Передай ему, что у него отличный выбор микрофона. Роды делают вещи, потому что у меня тоже роды.
Eric is saying you have a beautiful microphone. He has the same one and deeply respects the brand. Well selected microphone.
Oh yeah, thanks. Your studio looks better than mine.
Комплимент твоей студии, хорошо выглядит.
Thanks. В общем, ребят, простите за задержку. Буквально 10 минут. Сейчас все будет хорошо. Мы будем начинать. Мы будем идти строго по вопросам. Вопросов из зрительского зала, скорее всего, не будет, потому что вопросов много. Но, поверьте нам, мы охватим все моменты, которые вы могли бы сами спросить. Поэтому не переживайте, мы начнем. Просто досмотрите до конца, и будут ответы на все ваши вопросы.
He's giving a small introduction that we're gonna follow the list of questions. That everything is gonna start soon. So just a small introduction from him.
И первый вопрос. Почему Роберт решил купить компанию East versus West?
So to begin with, could you please elaborate on why Robert has decided to actually purchase East versus West? What's the story? Because there have been multiple answers on that, but it would be great to have one final for Russian auditory.
Sure. I think it started when Robert was in Istanbul to poll at East versus West. So I don't know many people if people know, but Robert is a 7-time WAF Bowl champion. I don't know if you want to translate or should I keep going?
It's okay, I can translate for now. Then thank you. Все началось в Стамбуле. Роберт приехал туда бороться, и, возможно, многие не знают, но Роберт является семикратным чемпионом мира по версии WAF. Yeah, please keep going, sir.
Yeah. And then while he was there, he realized that, Ingen was really stressed out and everything. And so, and he got really close to Ingen, and he knows Ingen for like decades. And, Robert says, you know what, for your health, might be good for you to let it go and whatnot. And over time, Ingen felt the need to sell because he said that he's already brought East versus West to a really high point, and to take it to the next level would involve being more. We need to expose arm wrestling to North America a little bit more in North America, right? And so that's the short story about why he sold, right? Knowing that he needs to take this to the next level and trust the company to Robert.
Декстер говорит, что Энген с Робертом знакомы уже десятилетия. Энген в какой-то момент был уже очень такой напряженный, было много стресса. И Роберт просто сказал ему, что, возможно, тебе нужно отпустить эту затею немножко, потому что это плохо на тебя влияет. И в какой-то момент Энген действительно озвучил идею, что да, он хочет продать эту лигу, потому что до того уровня, до которого он хотел, он ее уже довел. И дальше по плану нужно было ее уже более активно развивать, вкладываться и, возможно, даже увеличить зону покрытия в Северной Америке.
Мгм.
Вот, и получается, здесь возникает тогда, наверное, вопрос именно в Северной Америке или чья это изначально идея была купить, продать.
Да, можешь спросить.
based on what you're saying, was it basically the Engin's idea to sell? Because he mentioned a few times that that was his initial plan to create a business, to grow it, and then to sell it. Or was it Robert who actually seeded this idea into his mind when they met in Istanbul?
No. Robert had no intentions of buying it at any point. He was, I mean, you know that he's a very busy man, right? He owns hundreds of restaurants, and that's only one of them. But he also, me and him, we are part of a tech company that he's the chief business officer as well. But it was Ingen who said, I can only sell this to a guy who I trust. And one of the person I trust is Robert Baxter.
Mhm.
Partially, it's also because he's a very reputable man in our arm wrestling world. He might be soft spoken, but everybody knows him because he's been around for a really long time, and he's
Mhm.
an accomplished arm wrestler as well. So
Okay.
that's why it was offered to him. And so when Robert, was thinking about it, it's like, oh, I guess this is my passion, and might as well make a passion a full time thing. So that's why. So it was not Robert asking to buy it.
Mm.
It was Ingen offering to sell it.
Got it. Thank you. У Роберта изначально не было цели или мысли покупать. Он просто озвучил Энгину мысль, что если есть негативное влияние на здоровье, надо от этого избавляться. А, Энген озвучил идею, что чтобы продать бизнес, он должен встретить того, кому он доверит это, чтобы продать ее в хорошие руки, чтобы понимать, что лига не развалится. Так-то у Роберта, получается, много ресторанов. Декстер говорит, у него сотни ресторанов, у него есть технологическая компания, стартап, в которой они вместе с ним работают, то есть они коллеги. Вот. И поскольку Роберт горит армрестлингом, он его любит, и Энген озвучил эту идею, то вроде как сошлись два важных критерия.
Мгм.
Любовь и возможность развивать бизнес.
Мгм. Слушай, я не могу не отметить высочайшее качество звука у Декстера, потому что у него правильный микрофон. Ребят, обратите внимание, как хорошо его слышно. Я просто кайфую, у меня просто плюс уши.
Eric still mentions that you're the first guest who has a professional microphone and he can
Yeah.
finally hear someone so well.
Thank you.
Perfect sound. Просто, первый гость просто с таким микрофоном. Все, сердечко в самое. Так,
Thank
We
спасибо
shall be
за
happy to have this microphone.
развернутый ответ по поводу того, почему Роберт купил East vs West. Ребят, я надеюсь, вы поняли. С нами сегодня исполнительный директор компании East vs West Декстер Тан. И вот таков был ответ на наш первый вопрос. Почему Роберт купил East vs West? А второй вопрос касается как раз-таки Декстера. За что отвечает Декстер? Декстер, за что ты
Dexter,
отвечаешь?
thank you once again for sharing this side of the story. But as a CFO, could you please elaborate on your story, how you got into arm wrestling, how you got into this promotion, and what is your basically main job? What are you responsible for?
So my main job is I help kind of broker international deals. So for instance, if you're trying to acquire something, I'll get it for you, right? And I'll find it. Mostly in the Middle East, sometimes Europe, but usually in Asia, right? And it's usually like if you need petroleum products like jet fuel, diesel, EN 590, those are the things that I can help, you know, gas stations or countries find things. And one of the things that I also do is I help do a lot of private equity investments, right? So I own one of the, like people know, it's Mellow Capital. And so one of the companies that I co-invested in a tech company, and on that, it's a medical tech company, and I have an office on the same floor with Robert Baxter, right? And
Some
so
papers.
correct. And one of the and Robert and I, we also co-own several other companies. So Robert and I, we kind of know we know several years, and so when he was thinking of buying East versus West and King of the Table, he came to me. He's like, "Hey Dexter, I'm doing this. Do you want to come join me. And frankly, I have a little bit of experience in running events, right? I have my own companies that some of our events are like 6,000 people, live and everything. So he asked me, it's like, nah, I thought it was a fun thing. So I says, yeah, happy to help you. So initially it was just to help him because I was also interested in arm wrestling. Matter of fact, I think uh, my my first event was East versus West 15 in Istanbul. It was my first ever arm wrestling event. He we went together and then I fell in love. So I just kept helping. Eventually Robert was like, "Hey, I'm buying this, so I want you to join me." Like, okay, let's do it. So that's how I came to be because I know Robert really well and I have a lot of background in operating and running companies as well. So yeah,
Got it.
that's
I'll
how
translate this
I
part
came
now
to
then.
be.
Thank you very much. I'll translate this part, and then we'll get back to the duties. Собственно говоря, Декстер, он владелец тоже нескольких компаний, он предприниматель, у него есть брокерские услуги, то есть он работает по всему миру и с европейскими странами, и с азиатскими, и с Ближним Востоком, и в том числе инвестиции. Так сложилось, что у них в одном офисе находится компания Роберта и компания Декстера. Так они познакомились, они уже несколько лет дружат. И, собственно говоря, Роберт позвал его на один из турниров. Это был «Восток против Запада 15», где Декстер впервые увидел армрестлинг во всей своей красе, влюбился в этот спорт. И там Декстер с ним уже поделился мыслью, что, собственно говоря, хочет купить лигу и спросил, в принципе, совета у Декстера, стоит это делать или нет. И когда Роберт принял решение покупать лигу, он позвал с собой Декстера, потому что у того, помимо инвестиционных компаний, есть еще опыт в проведении мероприятий, то есть у него и медийная составляющая в портфолио есть, и проведение мероприятий на примерно 6 тысяч персон, плюс-минус. То есть хороший, солидный опыт. Собственно, вот как он попал туда. Теперь ко второй части вопроса про чем он сейчас занимается в этой
Мгм.
компании. So could you please go back to the part where what are your duties in this company? What are you responsible for?
So I'm not a CFO, I'm more on the COO, which is in operations. So one of the things that I kind of manage is more on the media side, right? So more on the apps. So the apps that the EvW Sports app is kind of my baby. Now I'm the guy who understands the generality of things. Example, right? I know how to measure a car's capability, horsepower, right? Torque, right? I understand those things. But when you ask me to build a car from scratch, I cannot build it from scratch. So I would go and hire people to build it. And when they start explaining to me, oh, I can build this for 500 horsepower, it's like, no, we need 700 horsepower. So that's where I come in my technical expertise because I also run tech companies and media companies. Uh, I run the social media side of things, right? And collectively, everything else in between as well in terms of merchandising. So we just switch our fulfillment company. So in the past, it was hired out to somebody else. They didn't do a very good job, so we brought it all back in. So I have to create systems where we can handle, dozens and dozens of orders every day. Those are some of the things that kind of I do. Now, then it's also planning out doing in the venue what happens the run of show, who's going up. That's kind of my side of things. Yes.
So you operate this or you delegate this to third parties mostly? How is it organized? Because there's going to be a question about how big is the team at the moment, but just to understand the scope of work.
Um, some of the things we have in house, like some of the videos, we have in house editors that work full time under East versus West. And then a lot of our promo videos are outsourced to freelancers. So we'll hire a guy, we'll give him X amount of dollars, and then every promo video, we pay him a set fee. So there's that. some longer form videos like documentary style videos, or those are edited in-house. Graphics, all posters and whatnot, we have 2 graphic guy, all in-house.
Understood. Thank you. And the app you were mentioning is the one that is used for the PPV right now, right?
Correct.
Understood.
Correct.
Собственно говоря,
Мгм.
Декстер является операционным директором компании, то есть его задача вникнуть во все бизнес-процессы и потихонечку их исправлять, развивать. Основные задачи у него развивать медийку, то есть у них есть свои видеомонтажеры, графические дизайнеры, которые постоянно на зарплате сидят и занимаются своей работой. Часть задач они распределяют сейчас на аутсорс. У Декстера сторонняя компания, которая как раз разрабатывает приложение, и они создали приложение, чтобы как раз East vs West мог просматривать pay-per-view. То есть последние несколько pay-per-view, которые были, они были на платформе, которую разработала команда Декстера.
Мгм.
Вот, помимо этого он сейчас занимается мерчендайзингом активно, то есть они сменили поставщика, были недовольны качеством и скоростью производства, а сейчас задача работать на куда больший объем. Вот. И последнее, но не менее важное, это, собственно говоря, сами мероприятия. То есть его задача найти помещение, разработать план и следить за тем, чтобы в ходе самого мероприятия все шло по плану.
Мгм. Так, ну
Это
и
было и
да, понял. Тогда третий вопрос как раз-таки, логически вытекающий из этого. Видение Декстера о развитии армрестлинга в мире и, в частности, в лиге East vs West.
So when it comes to arm wrestling, since you've mentioned yourself you are new to this world, maybe you have a different view on how it can be developed, what can be introduced to the sport. What is your vision? Please share with our audience.
I, as the new guy, right? I see arm wrestling, and I see it from both sides because I'm always next to, you know, Levon,
Experience,
Vitali,
guys.
Hermes, Devin. I'm always next to these guys. I'm lucky, right? I'm very, very lucky that I get to hang out with these guys all day long. I know all the top arm wrestlers, so I see it from their perspective, from the highest level in the world. But then I also go to practice every week. Not well. At least I try to, and
Oh,
I
you
see it
practice
from
arm
the
wrestling now?
lowest guy. Sorry.
You practice arm wrestling now as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I gotta. So when I travel around, I try to go to the local clubs too, if whenever I can, right?
Nice.
So yeah, so I try to do that, and also I know a whole bunch of people who've never heard about arm wrestling before. So can see what's kind of missing, how to bridge the gap, how to get people excited over arm wrestling. And I think one of the biggest thing is, yes, there are a few athletes in the that people know. Example, if I'm walking down the street with, say, Giannis, right? I'm walking down the street with Giannis. Uh, People may not know who Giannis is. I can guarantee you that. I walk down the street, I can walk all around America, and probably he has 0 people that stop him. But if I walk around with, say, Devon Larrattt, yeah, I'll get stopped quite a bit, right? And why is that? Because people know Devon not as an arm wrestler, but people know Devon as the guy who took revenge on the guy who pushed him in a video and then arm wrestled, and then he did this, right? So what
Видимо.
it is people know the athletes first before they know the sport most of the time. So what I'm trying to create is I'm focusing on creating videos about how cool these arm wrestlers are about, right? What do they do? What makes them so special? That's the focus. Instead of trying to just uh you know so in the past it feels like a lot of the videos that we were making, it was just videos of pinning, pin, 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 pin. And like a guy who watches the video who doesn't know about arm wrestling, he doesn't know what's happening. He's like, what are they doing? They're just pinning each other. That's it. It's okay,
Why is it
right?
so
But if
hard?
I show a video, of like we have one, it was created a while ago, and it was Levon. He couldn't open a can, right, because his fingers were so big. So I think he took like a fork or a knife to open the can. That's cool. That's funny. And then people's like, who is this guy? And then when they look him up, it's Levon. Levon's Sakhish Billy. He's the top world arm wrestler champion. Let me go check out more videos about him. Right? Those are kind of content that can bring outside people to come watch arm wrestling.
More entertaining, yeah?
Yeah.
Собственно говоря, у него видение делится на несколько частей. То есть он, с одной стороны, смотрит на все это дело как человек, который совершенно новичок в армрестлинге. С другой стороны, он постоянно общается с топами из этого спорта и слышит их мнение. И с третьей стороны, что самое интересное, он, поскольку по работе постоянно путешествует, он куда бы ни поехал, старается заехать в какой-то местный клуб по армрестлингу и там узнать тоже мнение ребят, что они думают, что им интересно и так далее. Потому что фишка в чем? Если он идет по улице с Янисом, серьезный спортсмен мирового уровня, но на улице их почти никто не останавливает. Если он идет с Девоном по улице, то их будут часто останавливать, потому что это известная личность. И суть в том, что, по мнению Декстера, люди сначала знают спортсмена как личность, а потом уже начинают интересоваться спортом. И сейчас он пытается вокруг спортсменов создать как раз вот этот контент, который бы позволял узнать их как личность, заинтересовать, чтобы человек вовлекся в мир спорта и стал этим интересоваться. Вот он привел пример, например, Ливан, здоровый парень, чемпион мира. Но кто-то его не знает, а они пытаются преподнести его как такого, может быть, немножко неуклюжего гиганта, который не может открыть банку. Из-за того, что у него огромные руки, у него не помещается эта банка в руках. Вот. И то есть они пытаются подумать о том, как создать контент таким образом, чтобы люди, вообще никак не связанные с армрестлингом, которые не знают правил, не понимают этот спорт, чтобы они заинтересовались атлетами и за счет этого заинтересовались спортом.
Спасибо. Спасибо, Декстер. Дорогие зрители, вот такой ответ. У нас уже очень много на Ютубе, очень много в Телеграм-канале. Я надеюсь, вам интересно. У нас здесь особый гость сегодня. Декстер Тан, исполнительный директор компании промоушена East vs West. Сегодня он проливает свет на некоторые, точнее, на все моменты. Практически мы сейчас дойдем до всего, так что будет интересно. Не отключайтесь, смотрите, кайфуйте. И мы переходим к нашему следующему вопросу. Сколько турниров будет проведено за пределами США в связи с визовыми трудностями и стоимостью?
By continuing, we would like to take a subject on the future events of East versus West. How many do you guys plan to have outside of US, considering that the visa can be a difficulty for many athletes and the costs are quite high in terms of operations and relocations and all that stuff?
We are always trying to find really cool venue, right? And half the time, like as you know, even in Istanbul, it was pretty affordable because it's the same team at the same hotel. So that AV team that does all the old production that did it for King of the Table 14, they are local, and their office is inside the Pendik Hotel. So that's very, very affordable. And Pendik usually gives us a pretty good deal, on hotel rates, and usually the venue's very, very affordable. So that's very, very, it's just good. But even in Georgia's really expensive, right? Georgia's really expensive. So what we always look for is who can help alleviate some of the costs. Example, is it say even one of the things that Elma from Azerbaijan, he offered to say, hey, I can get you some hotel rooms, I can get you, the venue, I can get you sponsorships. So when they offer those, we'll be interested. So we'll talk to them and see if we can make it work. So really the big plan is to see who can give us the best deals. That's one. The one thing that we also found is that we will still need to have events in both continents, right? Because we want not just in the same place all the time, right?
Mhm.
We don't want to have the same event all the time. So we want to grow the sport. So we are trying to enter, you know. So I think later this year we are in talks. I'm not sure if we've signed yet, but Switzerland.
Mhm.
Maybe we will go to Switzerland too, right? We want to bring the sport to more eyes because what I was a firm believer in is uh, when I was in Istanbul, I was sold. The event was so good, right? I felt like in just one event, I'm now a big fan, right? I think watching YouTube videos
No,
and
it doesn't
seeing people,
translate. Yeah,
yeah, it takes a while to try to convert you to be a real fan. But when you attend in person, that's when
of course.
your mind is blown and you're a super fan, super fast. So
Yeah.
that's why I believe we need to bring ourselves to more places around the world, and not just Europe, not just North America. I'm looking at Asia. There are parts of. I mean, at one point we even talked about India, right? Australia, another continent. I don't know about Africa yet, but we now have Ricard Borman from South Africa,
Yeah.
though he lives in Australia, but there is a possibility there. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to bring to wherever it is. Now, in terms of the visa issues, it's not really a big problem anymore, right? We checked and we got confirmation that so as long as the athlete is not a criminal, even if he's from Russia, like Vitali, right? And even if or Ukraine, it doesn't matter. We can get you the visas right now. We can get you the visas. We finally got approval from a very high-ranking politician to give us a green light. So visas not an issue now.
But it's not only the fact of the approval of the visa, but it's also the whole procedure that many athletes need to take. Not only Russians, but they have to go to another country to get an appointment, to wait for it, then to maybe get approval or not, and it affects their training process.
So in the past, that was the case, but now that there is no wait time,
Mhm.
meaning that they call it congressional expedition, and all you need to do is fill in the DS-160, which is the US visa application. When they apply for it, pick any interview date, doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Let me know what your application number is. I will go and contact the politician, and his office people would bring that athlete to the top of the line and get him in whenever he wants to get in. So
Mhm.
he doesn't have to wait very long. So he flies in, goes to an interview, surrenders his passport, and then sometimes within the next day or so, he'll get his passport back with the US visa in there. That's kind of
So
how the process is.
basically, all you need right now is the first case to establish trust from the athletes that it's possible. It's not just words. It's also something that can be done because a lot of people, I think, they're worried about that.
So to give you an idea, Lavon, even for King of Table 13, he only had a one-time entry, right? For King of Table 13.
Mhm.
And he even got it through the president of Georgia, or
Mhm.
the prime minister of Georgia
Mhm.
had to request that for him. And he only got a one-time pass. Now, through our connections, we tested it. Lavon and Irakli has a multiple entry 10-year visa,
Mm.
right?
And they
And
got
we
this
got
as an athletes, or is it like a tourist or something like that? Just for out of curiosity.
it is tied to our endorsement, but they
Ah,
can come in to train, to
mm,
film movies, whatever. Yeah,
got
but
it.
it's tied to our endorsement.
I'll translate this then. Thank you very much. Собственно говоря,
Мгм.
возвращаясь к вопросу локации, задача максимально расширить горизонты. То есть они будут пробовать разные страны, но какие критерии для них важны, собственно говоря? Если говорить про Турцию, были замечательные ивенты, все были в восторге, была очень теплая атмосфера и
Мгм.
было достаточно недорого. Но вопросы оставались к качеству проведения, потому что это все-таки были медиаплощадка была отельная, то есть все оборудование было отельное. Да, они дают хороший пакет, но качество не всегда срабатывает. В Грузии крутая площадка, классное качество, но было очень дорого. Поэтому им, когда они думают о локации, им важно найти не только хорошее место, но чтобы оно было финансово выгодным, чтобы это не было как крыло самолета, и чтобы можно было при этом обеспечить хорошее качество и логистику.
Мгм.
Сейчас они думают проводить турнир в Швейцарии, например, что, в
М.
принципе, удобно для многих спортсменов ввиду часовых поясов там и так далее. Ам, Что
Про
касается
визы он там говорил еще.
Да, я к этому приду.
Мгм.
Он также упомянул Эльмара, что вот Эльмар им предложил очень крутую сделку, поэтому им было интересно ее рассматривать. Ну, к этому мы потом еще отдельно вернемся. Ам,
Эльмар — это
В планах,
связной Баку, напомним
да,
зрителям. Мгм.
в планах у них еще развивать Азию, Ближний Восток, Австралию. У них сейчас вот появился спортсмен из Южной Африки, возможно, он поможет им провести турнир там в свое время. Поэтому с точки зрения локации они не собираются только в Америке проводить мероприятия, просто, ну, сейчас так выходит. Вот. Что касается визы, он подтверждает, что да, у них есть вот этот контакт в Конгрессе, который ускоряет этот процесс. Вот этот страх, который у многих есть, что нужно ехать куда-то в другую страну, делать, как это правильно сказать, визит бронировать, чтобы тебя потом еще рассматривали какое-то время, и не факт, что подтвердят. Сейчас это все действительно упрощено. Можно выбрать место, куда можно подать заявление, там не будет очереди на ожидание, и, сделав это заявление, нужно уведомить, Декстера, и он
Мгм.
через, свои каналы с Бакстером, они ускорят этот процесс. В качестве примера он привел Ливана с Иракли. До того, как они поработали с Конгрессом, у Ливана была, разовая виза, которую ему очень тяжело было получать. Там они задействовали каких-то высокопоставленных чиновников Грузии, чтобы получить эту визу. Сейчас, после работы Декстера и Бакстера, и у Ливана, и у Иракли многократная десятилетняя виза в Америку. И они могут беспрепятственно туда приезжать на тренировки, на съемки, на соревнования. Вот, поэтому, по словам Декстера, вопрос с визой они решили. Здесь, наверное, нужна добрая воля какого-то атлета первого, который бы публично прошел через этот путь и доказал, что это не сложно, а возможно. Как-то
Мгм.
так.
Мгм. То есть вот
Какие-то
касательно
вопросы, что-то
визы мы
интересно?
тоже коснулись. Вот такие вот новости по поводу визы. То есть они могут где-то ускорить, где-то помочь, где-то подсказать. Вот такие вот моменты.
Да.
Потому что ну, вопрос один из самых главных по поводу этих виз злополученных.
Мгм.
Так, спасибо за ответ. Переходим к следующему. Большой вопрос, объемный. Кто входит в команду и кто же за что отвечает? Потом вторая часть вопроса.
Thank you again for a detailed answer regarding the venues. The next question would be the current team. Who is in East versus West at the moment? What are their responsibilities, duties, apart from you and Baxter?
Um, we are the two main guys, and then we have, um, I guess, Adam Silver. So Adam Silver was the founder of King of the Table.
Yep.
So he joined the team, and he helps me with all the social media
Mm.
stuff.
Is he on the same level as you, or he's hired
No,
as a
he's not an owner. Yeah,
okay.
he's not an owner. He's there to assist us as an employee.
Mm.
And then we have brand managers. Now we actually have merchandise fulfillment that we brought in house. So that's a new person. We have customer support that we just brought in. We also have two designers, so graphic designers,
Mhm.
and one of them, total genius. He is also taking care of some of our website and emails. We have video guys,
Mhm.
you know, video
Yep.
editors, and then the rest are all like freelancers and whatnot. So So a lot of media team, but not very much outside of the media team.
What about the arm wrestling part? Like you mentioned before that there might be a council of the guys who will plan for the cards and stuff like that. The referees, maybe there are full on board referees, and some are also as well freelancers. Or
Correct. So the idea is, in the absence of Ingen, right? We want to make it more fair, and we want everybody to know this, right?
Mhm.
Devon is not an owner of East versus West.
I
Okay.
haven't even asked that yet, but thank you for
Okay.
clarifying. Yeah.
Okay. He's not an owner.
Mhm.
He does have influence, but as I said, every athlete has influence, right?
Mhm.
Lavon has influence, Hermes has influence, right? All the way down, Surhey has influence.
I-
Every athlete has influence, but their influence is at the level of them coming to Robert and I and telling them, "Hey, can we do this? Can I do that?"
I'm
Right?
very sorry,
Eh,
Dexter, for interrupting, but it's going to be a separate question. Sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, okay.
The one that I asked was about the arm wrestling part of the team in terms of you've mentioned that Nil Picap might be in the board, Coach Ray, maybe some referees who help you to create new rules, things like that. Like there is a front of house and the back of house, right? So could you please elaborate on that?
Right. So right now that council hasn't been officially set up yet,
Mhm.
but Robert, even for Colorado's card, he has been consulting with a lot of these people, a lot of these athletes. He has been sitting down consulting with them. So an official council has not been formed just quite yet, not
Mm,
yet, but yeah. So matter of fact, there are talks about updating and changing some of the rules for Colorado, and uh, we have been a little bit careful
mhm,
about making sure that the new rules are made known to the athletes and they all must agree with it,
mhm,
right? Right. So we haven't really announced any of the rules changes. Matter of fact, we didn't really change it very much rules, right?
mhm.
Any rules. So no rules have been made in favor of King's move. I know a lot of Europeans doesn't like pulling against the King's mover, but there's no rules that have been made for or against King's move for a really long time. Now,
Mm.
one of the new proposed rule, which is not official yet, is that well, you can only protest once per round, and
Mhm.
if you fail on the protest, you can't protest again. But if you win on your protest, you can keep protesting again. So it's like a one chance kind of thing.
But
So we haven't really figured it out yet if you want to move forward with that, but we need all the athletes buy-in. But that
mm,
is these kind of changes, it's not favoring an athlete or what. It's just trying to move and get the event going faster, right? Because coming from an outside perspective, the one thing that I
back to
kind
you.
of brought up, it's sometimes all the protests, I don't know what's happening, or sometimes even gripping up. Gripping up takes forever sometimes. Like, can we get the grip faster so I can see the actual action, right? So those are kind of things that I noticed that I want the event to go faster. So if we move the rules, the rules are actually designed to make it easier and more entertaining for the general public.
But do you think partially this could be solved by good commenting in terms of explaining the rule set, explaining what's going on, and things like that, to make it? Of course, it's important to make it easy to view and comfortable to digest, but also to understand what's happening.
Uh, Definitely for sure, we can have some level of commenting, but there is also I can see there's two issues. One issue is that right now, with the current system that we have, we may change that later. Is that most of our commentators natively are all English speakers, right?
Hmm.
But we also have a lot of non-English speaking fans. And
Hmm.
so commentating doesn't solve that problem, right? That's one. Second problem, even with good commentating, there's only so much commentating you can do if you're trying to spend 10 minutes on on a single grip. It's
Fair
it's
enough.
just too boring, right?
Fair
It's too slow pace.
Got it. I'll translate this part then. Thank you. Так, если говорить про команду, иерархия выглядит следующим образом.
Мгм.
Есть два владельца, и больше никого нету сейчас среди
Так.
владельцев. Это
Самое
Роберт и
интересное.
Бакстер. Никого больше.
2
Тонкий
человека.
намек. Да. Далее они работают
Такой
очень
уж
тесно.
тонкий.
Они работают очень плотно с Адамом Сильвером. Это человек, который участвовал в основании «Короля стола». Это менеджер Ларри Уилса. Очень известный в Америке чувак, который занимается как раз фильмографией, то есть он создает контент для блогеров, и он достаточно давно занимается армрестлингом. Вот.
Мгм.
Он следующий человек в команде, с ним консультируется активно по вопросам продвижения. Вот. Помимо этого, у них в штате сейчас находится бренд-менеджер, который помогает с брендом. Есть человек новый, который занимается чисто мерчендайзом, его разработкой и закупкой. Customer support — это, получается, человек, который отвечает за связь с подписчиками, с покупателями и так далее.
Мгм.
2 дизайнера и видеографы. Это все, что у них есть сейчас в штате. Все остальное — это люди на фрилансе, включая рефери, включая наших уважаемых Коуча Рэя и Нила Пикапа. То
Они
есть это они
фрилансеры,
приглашаются
получается.
на
Они
ивент,
не часть команды.
они приглашаются на ивент и, собственно говоря, получают плату за ивент. Они не на зарплате, если
А,
говорить про штат.
они не в
Как
штате, в общем.
такового, да, как такового совета армрестлеров, который обсуждался ранее на стримах с Декстером, была такая тема, что вот пока Энгена нету, нужно, чтобы кто-то планировал карты. И предлагалось, что это будет Нил Пикап и Коуч Рэй. Пока что этого нету. Роберт сам выбирает карты, он консультируется со спортсменами, он обсуждает, кого с кем лучше поставить. Вот. И вот, например, матчи в Колорадо — это вот решение Роберта во многом, которые будут. Ну, понятно, что там еще стронгмены будут, но то,
Мгм.
что касается армрестлинга.
Да-да-да.
Вот. Задача перед ними сейчас, он немножко начал отходить от темы, но перебивать не стали, чтобы было минимум изменений в правилах, и эти правила не должны быть в пользу каким-либо спортсменам. То есть он
Мгм.
заранее почувствовал этот
Какого-то
вопрос, он сказал,
определенного
что
спортсмена, да? Какого-то там
да,
речь, наверное.
да,
Ну,
именно. И
непонятно про
что
какого. Ну, просто про
мы не
какого-то
можем
абстрактного.
догадаться. Да,
Про любого
сферическое.
абсолютно может. Мгм.
И ни в коем случае никаким движением, где прямая рука и все такое.
Определенным
Вот.
техникам, я бы так сказал, да.
Секретным.
Мы никакую
Да,
технику не выделяем, мы не называем. Ну, просто одну из какую-то, в любую.
да,
Мгм.
да. Вот. И, собственно говоря, правила, они заточены под одну простую вещь. И должны быть одобрены спортсменами.
Мгм.
Сделать этот спорт более зрелищным, чтобы человек, смотря 10 минут на захват, не захотел выключить телевизор, условно
Мгм.
говоря.
Да-да-да-да-да. Да-да-да.
Вот. И, собственно говоря, вот одно из правил, которое они сейчас обсуждают, это сделать одну апелляцию за раунд максимум. То есть, если
А,
ты чем-то недоволен за свой раунд, ты можешь подать одну апелляцию. Если она не удовлетворена, ты теряешь право на апелляцию. Если апелляция удовлетворена, ты в последующем можешь еще подавать апелляцию. То есть как-то
мгм.
так. Вот. Это
Это
был ответ
касательно
на вопрос
изменений,
про команду,
касательно
но мы
изменений.
пришли к правилам еще. Да.
Да, цепанули. Это самое интересное, на самом деле. Я думаю,
Можно
еще,
эту тему развить, да.
я думаю, коснемся ее чуть позже, да? Там
Мгм.
по нашему хронометражу.
Да.
Уважаемые подписчики, вот такие у нас сегодня гости. Исполнительный директор East versus West.
She's just like
Труды,
what we just discussed, so that's
труды нашей,
just understand.
да, труды нашей команды, а именно Армвокса в частности, вы можете поддержать платной подписочкой на Армбусте. На бусте Армвокса. Там вы, кстати, можете получить шикарные обои на ваш компьютер, на ваш телефон и так далее, под любое устройство в шикарном HD качестве. Сейчас я, кстати, смотрю на обои, которые как раз-таки из этого из Бусти с Виталием Лалитиным. Такой короткий спойлер. Хотя, наверное, уже выкладывали. Так что, ребят, вы тоже можете стать счастливыми обладателями таких обоев. Смотрится шикарно. Так что рассмотрите такой вариант. И мы переходим к следующему вопросу. Благодарю за такие развернутые ответы. Декстер вообще респект за такое включение вообще, за такой фанатизм и горение армрестлингом. То, что он так отвечает, я думаю, это о многом говорит. Человек горит армрестлингом.
First of all, once again, huge respect to you for having such a passion to our sport and such a detailed answer for all our questions. Thank you very much. And we're going to the next question.
Цифры per preview, не могу выговорить per preview, да? Цифры per preview, какие страны приносят больше денег и какие спортсмены? Какие за
So,
деньги?
when it comes to pay-per-view, could you please share us some statistics in terms of which countries bring more viewers, maybe which athletes bring more viewers? How can the athlete affect that? What can help to develop the sport as well in that regards? But mainly statistics for now.
It obviously varies with a small range of which countries bring in the most, but typically America and Canada, it's about half, sometimes a little bit more than half. You know, 55%, 60% comes from North America.
Mhm,
And
Mm.
then once you start including the English speaking countries, it goes up to 70, 75% of the pay-per-view buys.
mhm,
And once you start having, like, say, Hermes, when he pulled in Chicago,
mm.
there is a bump from Italy. So
Mm.
we can see some of those bumps. And Canada drops if there's no Canadian athletes pulling. It's quite common, but that's kind of where it moves around. But
But if you would mention top 3 countries, for example, that bring most of the viewers for now.
America, Canada, and UK.
UK. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yep.
На данный момент топ — это все-таки Америка, Канада плюс Англия. То есть в основном это англоговорящие страны. Америка с Канадой обычно приносят порядка 50-60% всех просмотров. Суммарно с Англией это порядка 70%. Но цифры плавают, потому что это во многом зависит и от атлетов. Если, например, появляется Hermes, резко подскакивает интерес из Италии, покупают
Мгм.
итальянцы. И так бывает и с другими спортсменами тоже. If I may ask as well, if we're talking about non-English speaking countries like Italy, France, maybe some other countries, is there a top among them as well who are the most active, or it mainly depends on whether their athlete is pulling or not?
It's usually if the athlete is pulling. It's
So
yeah, it's very, very dependent on that.
biased athletes or biased fans, yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Understood. Да, в основном получается, что из остальных стран все зависит от того, борются ли спортсмены из этой страны или нет. Это напрямую
Мгм.
связано с
М.
просмотром.
Как обстоят дела с выплатами спортсменам на турнире King of the Table 12? Как нам известно, доложила разведка, но, в принципе, в общественность уже просочилась информация, что выплатили. Так ли это?
We just heard recently from Sergei Kalinichenko that he got paid for one of the past tournaments. Could you please share us the news? Like all the debts from King of the Table are closed, or there are some still dues? What's the news from that?
So the idea was, when we purchased King of the Table. Now, just keep in mind, King of the Table was never a company. It was always a brand under
Mm,
Core Sports. We did not buy Core Sports. That's why we don't own Core Sports YouTube channel. We don't own the rights to Core Sports. We only
mm,
bought the brand. So we basically bought all the assets from Core Sports,
mm,
right? And that also means that we did not buy the debts of Core Sports.
mm,
And Core Sports owed a few athletes some money, right?
mhm,
And it has nothing to do with us. But then over time, uh, when I was talking to Robert and Sergey start messaging me, and I kind of told Robert, I said, Robert, let's just find out, how can we help these athletes? Because I know they're upset, but they don't know who to get upset with. So sometimes it's just us. So I think Robert had a really good long conversation with Sir Hay. And then
Мгм.
finally it's like, okay, well, you know what? Uh what we did was because we still the way that we bought King of the Table was that we still will pay him over time,
Мгм.
right? But so what we are gonna tell Core Sports is when we buy, we're gonna pay some of these athletes that you have not paid from our pocket first, and
Мгм.
we'll deduct it off your future payments.
М. Мгм.
So we are kind of forcing that route. Technically, the correct route would be we pay Core Sports, and Core Sports would do whatever they want with the money, which
Мгм.
is probably pay the athletes. But in this regard, we are doing the opposite. We're just going to pay the athletes, and we're telling Core Sports, no, we are going to deduct that off your payment. That's kind of the route that we did.
So basically, it's not fully paid out, the rights to core sports for King of the Table. Is that what you're saying, right?
There's usually a payment plan,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Because if we pay it up all up front when we buy a company, then what happens if they take and they don't give us everything, or they don't share with us all the information, or they don't train us?
mhm.
It's kind of typical
Yeah,
that we
makes
pay
sense.
it over the next year or so.
Mhm. So, and you plan to pay to the athletes from the revenue or from the profit? Because there were rumors that the event has to be successful in order for you to pay out the athletes and yalla yalla.
No. So that's why if you ask all the athletes who have since since we took over, and it was not surprising that when we moved to America, our events don't really make money, all right? And but ask which athlete has not been paid since we took over. Every athlete has been paid,
Mm.
irregardless whether we make money or not.
You were also mentioning about that there were some difficulties in terms of the wire transfer because some athletes prefer cash and some athletes cannot get wire transfer to their country. Is it something that has been fixed or it's still an issue?
It's almost there.
Mhm,
Okay, it's almost there. We have a workaround. Now the reason is example, right? When we go to say Georgia,
mhm,
right? Where are we gonna find so much cash to bring, right? The airport will stop me and Robert when we
makes sense.
bring in too much cash. So
Mhm,
what we do is we'll bring as much as we can legally, and then whatever merchandise we sell, tickets at the door that
mhm,
we sell, we generate more revenue, and we use that cash to also distribute that. Sometimes we are short, sometimes we will be short, right? So
mhm.
that's what it is. But for the most part, I believe almost every athlete has been paid.
Got it. Good news, thank you. Смотрите, в общем, получается, начнется все с небольшой истории. То
Мгм.
есть, когда покупался король стола King of the Table, нужно понимать, что King of the Table — это бренд, который принадлежит Core Sports, платформе, которая, вещает, в мире спорта. То есть это не лига, это не бизнес, это именно права на, бренд. Он не физический. Вот. И что случилось? Получается, что действительно со стороны Core Sports были проблемы с выплатами спортсменам, но по факту инициатива закрыть эти долги за Core Sports, она вышла от Роберта и Декстера, по словам нашего гостя.
Мгм.
И суть в том, что они не выплатили полностью все деньги Core Sports, потому что это сложная юридическая сделка, они платят частями и расплачиваются с ними за каждый ивент. Но чтобы помочь спортсменам, они с каждого турнира платят сначала спортсменам, и если что-то остается, они платят Core Sports эти деньги. И получается, что спортсмен получает деньги с дохода, а не с прибыли, и деньги, которые могли бы пойти на выплату Core Sports, они сейчас идут спортсменам. Была сложность с тем, чтобы, переводить деньги из Америки этим спортсменам, потому что у кого-то сложности с переводом, у
Мгм.
кого-то нет желания только налички. Но суть в том, что когда турнир проходит не в США, очень сложно возить наличку. В
Мгм.
аэропорту будут проблемы, нужно будет платить за таможню. И они находят небольшие шаги, как это решить. То есть они продают билеты за наличку, они продают мерч за наличку. С этих денег они тоже расплачиваются со спортсменами. То есть пока что это вот так. Насколько Декстер знает, сейчас основные долги все закрыты. Может быть, что-то осталось, но вот на данный момент у нас с вами информация, что вроде как задолженностей не должно больше быть.
Мгм.
Осталось только расплатиться с Core Sports до конца.
Сразу же вытекающий вопрос про Короспорт и Кинопоиск. Будет ли в перспективе армрестлинг снова на Кинопоиске? Потому что для российской аудитории Кинопоиск это был единственным вариантом посмотреть нормально.
Since we touched financial questions, another would be you have a huge fan base in Russia. Arm wrestling is big in Russia, but we cannot pay directly to King of the Table or to East versus West, which owns King of the Table at the moment. There used to be a pathway for us just to pay to Kinopolis directly and to watch there, but at the moment it's not possible. Do you have any good news for us? Maybe there is going to be a solution in the near future.
So to clarify, Constantine at Kinopolis, we, we talk all the time, right?
Mhm,
And what we found is that piracy has been pretty rampant lately. So when we hired a team to
mhm,
kind of crack down on piracy for
mhm,
during the live stream, uh, we were able to crack down multiple times on because we have the American live stream has like some encoding that allows us to detect all the
yeah,
pirates,
yep,
right? And shut their stream down.
mhm.
But
Give them
then there are sort of streams that we couldn't shut down
mhm,
because we found that we couldn't control them due to them being Russian stream from Kinopoisk, right?
mm,
We had we had one it was I think ppv.land. They had I think at one point 28,000 uh viewers, live viewers on one of their pirated stream, and we
that's
couldn't take it
sad.
down. It was frustrating because we didn't control the stream. It was like from Kinopolis. So what we went back was is like we lost a lot of money because you know just all the pirates. So we told Kinopolis, look, until you guys figure out to set up some anti-piracy systems for your stream, we cannot pass you the uh, our video feed because it will encourage widespread piracy. So right now there's still piracy. I understand that even on other Telegram channels, people would restream it, but they're usually in the small scale.
Mhm.
But back even say like in Georgia, man, we had 28,000 viewers. I saw on the screen, I was like, whoa. And we couldn't shut it down. Unfortunately, we couldn't shut it down because it was a Kinopo stream. So we kind of removed that. But so Constantine is giving me updates. He says, oh, the team's almost done with their piracy control systems. And so once that's done, there's a very good likelihood it comes back. Now, and you guys are on a Russian channel, so love it. If you guys, any Russians is out there, know of another way to restream our pay-per-view, I'm happy to entertain that. I'm happy to talk to people. So I know, for instance, at one point I believe I spoke with Matt Rhodes. He's now in Siberia doing that Siberian Power, whatever. I also mentioned it to him. You know, there is if anybody knows of a way that we can sell pay-per-views inside Russia, happy to do it. Because I understand it's frustrating. You guys want to watch, you can watch. So you can buy it. So might as well just watch a pirated stream. Right. I get it. I get it. So if you guys have a solution, let me know. Happy to work with you guys.
I'll translate. Проблема может оказаться не такой очевидной, как нам казалось, и ранее другие блогеры тоже это обсуждали вопрос, что есть какие-то переговоры, но никто не говорил деталей. А суть оказывается в том, что ведется активная борьба с пиратством. И у американских платформ, которые занимаются pay-per-view, есть вшитый код, который позволяет моментально закрыть трансляцию пиратскую, если она ведется с их платформы. У Кинопоиска, к сожалению, такого кода нету. И поэтому, когда проходил, например, турнир в Грузии, Один пиратский стрим в какой-то момент смотрело 28 тысяч человек.
Нифига
И
себе.
это больно ударило по карману, это было очень неприятно. Они обсуждают с представителем Кинопоиска, что,
Мгм.
ребята, давайте-ка вы введете все-таки эту защиту, потому что мы со своей стороны не можем прикрыть эту лавочку, а у вас нет инструментов, чтобы это сделать. И получается, что, да, очень обидно, что российские спортсмены и любители армрестлинга не могут посмотреть на Кинопоиске стрим. С другой стороны, получается, что приходится нам тоже пиратить. То есть Декстер говорит, что если есть у кого-то какие-то идеи, как можно это устроить
Мгм.
по-другому, может быть, какой-то способ оплаты есть неочевидный, либо какая-то другая площадка для стрима, где россияне могут платить, пожалуйста, скажите ему, он готов все слушать, все учитывать. Вот. Но пока что, пока Кинопоиск этот вопрос не решит, они не могут так поступить.
Так, если представитель Кинопоиска сейчас на нашем стриме, пожалуйста, свяжитесь с нами, напишите в редакцию нашей группы, мы тут за вас лямку тянем. Кинопоиск, давайте этот серьезнее немножко напишите, мы как-то
Taking up
решим,
attacking
разрулим, потому что мы тут на
Кинопоиск.
коннекте, вы сами понимаете, мы на коннекте, как бы ну, напрямую. Поэтому Кинопоиск, давайте думать, давайте подсказывайте, как нам сделать по красоте. Варианты есть.
Basically, at the moment, your company is only registered in USA, right? Like if you register in another country, like post-Soviet Kazakhstan or maybe somewhere in the East, it would be easier to get payments from other countries due to sanction and all that stuff. But that's not an option at the moment. Yeah, it's too way complicated.
And the reason why I'm pausing is because I'm thinking how much I can release information, but no, we are actually in the process of getting a company
Because you were
in the East
mentioning
as well.
planned something in Dubai, but it's been on one of the first streams from the backlash. But would it help, or that's something related to other issues mainly?
So even if we have that, right? The problem is trying to find somebody, a payment processor within Russia itself to accept payments. Not just Russia, China, right? China also has lots of fans there, but we can't get, we can't receive payments from them. So it's more, it's not just quite where our country is incorporated, where which country we are incorporated in, but it's also finding partners within the country. So we're looking for a Russian-based partner to help us receive payments and help distribute our pay-per-views within the country.
Мгм. That's important. Thank you for sharing. Они на данный момент в процессе регистрации компании в Дубае, но им очень важно, чтобы нашелся российский и китайские партнеры, которые занимаются платежными средствами переводов. То есть, ну, что-то типа Киви, который у нас был. Ну, нужен человек, который не боится санкций, который готов проводить через себя платежи, чтобы переводить это в компанию, которую они организуют вне США. Скорее всего, это будет Дубай. Вот, поэтому, если кто-то здесь нас смотрит из айтишников в финтехе, у вас есть такая возможность замечательная спасти российский мир армрестлинга от
Так мы это
пиратов.
и сделаем сейчас, я так понимаю.
Именно так.
У нас, по-моему, все возможности. Короче, скажи Декстеру, сейчас мы этот покумекаем и все сделаем. По красоте.
Okay. Eric says, "Wait a moment, we're gonna solve this." Jokingly, of course, but who knows?
Who knows, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Так, когда появятся правила, текущие на сайте? Текущие правила
Uh, you
армрестлинга.
you've mentioned already about the rule set that you're gonna be very gentle with implementation of the new rules, and you mentioned that it's not gonna be favoring anyone. Um, so far, from what we see, the rules are not published on the website, and that kind of creates a lot of debates among the fans whether or not the match was won by the rules. Plus, the bets are coming in. How can you bet if you don't know the rules? Could you please elaborate on that as well? Because that's an important topic.
So I think I mentioned it, maybe a month and a half ago, that we actually are in the middle of publishing all the rules. Matter of fact, in Colorado, I kind of mentioned this to Luke Poulter, right? That I not only just want to publish the rules, but I want to create a comprehensive video of every rule in the book,
That's
right?
going to be
Including
amazing.
from table dimensions
Yeah.
to exactly what refs are looking for when it's set up. Every rule that's published will also have an accompanying video to explain that rule. That's kind of how I'm thinking of. But yeah,
And what's the timeline for that?
Colorado.
So by the event in Colorado, so in a couple of weeks, basically, it's going to be done.
Next week.
Ooh, fantastic.
So
Nice.
next week, my goal is to have the rules published, and the video we'll film it while we are in Colorado with the refs, right?
Mm.
And I don't know how quickly we can edit the video, but it's soon after that.
So the promise is right after the event in Colorado, we're going to see the rules.
No, the published rules I'm hoping to be before Colorado's event on Friday. So in about a week or so. That's kind of my goal because we're actually kind of close. There might be some tweaks that we might have to do, but it's usually like grammatical or just adding on to what we've already done. But that's the idea.
If you need help to translate Russian, let us know.
You know what? I may.
You should.
I do. We do have an in-house one of our team members, right? So we have members in Asia that we hired, some in America, but we also have one who speaks Russian. Do you know Alex Bakurazi? He's always our translator.
Yeah, we've seen him a couple of times. Very cool guy.
Yeah, he's that guy who kind of follows around with doing translation work. But he's also a graphics guy, so he's one of our graphics guy. Okay?
So he's saving everywhere.
Yeah. So once maybe that's finalized, we will have the rules and my goal is that our long form videos would also have Russian translation in it. So he knows and he's working on that. So
Cool.
I'll ask him if he can translate those, but if not, then maybe I'll reach out to you guys because I really want rules to be open and everybody can refer back to the rules as the golden standard.
That would be wonderful.
That's what we're not differing from. Yeah.
And who is working on these rules right now? Is it Luke, or maybe he's working with Bill? Or, like, are they reviewing if the rule makes sense or not, or is it going to be just standard WAF rules with some adjustments?
So a lot of it was based from WAF, but over time there has been a little bit of changes. Example, right? The elbow. If it's a slight hop with no advantage, it's not a foul, right? It's just that we don't want to keep calling so many fouls, as long as there's no advantage, right? So it's the core is WAF, and then it changed over with all the add-ons. But I guess you wait and see. But for now, the rules will be circulated to several people, not just one or two, but several people for them to view. Not just the refs, but also Robert. I mean, like again, Robert's a 7-time WAF world champion, so he knows the rules really well too, right? So he's one of them. A couple of his close, trusted people within the community will also be looking at it. It's based on who Robert feels it's who can help contribute. But most of the athletes kind of know what the rule is, but now is just to make sure it's in writing. It's
a lot
in
of
writing.
people don't even read the rules. They're just strong and they win.
Yeah, correct.
Understood. I'll translate this. Thank you very much. Собственно говоря, Декстер сделал небольшое обещание, даже несколько. Получается, что к концу следующей недели должны появиться правила на сайте перед ивентом в Колорадо. Но, что немаловажно, это будет не просто новости, а чуть позже появится видеогайд к этим правилам.
Опа.
где
Интересно.
будет подробно объяснено, на что рефери смотрит, что он
Мгм.
при этом думает, как он трактует. И это очень крутая идея, потому что такого раньше особо никто не делал. И над этим
Мгм.
сейчас куча народу работает, включая самого Роберта и рефери, которые работают с этой организацией. На данный момент, по факту, за основу взяты, конечно же, правила ВАФ, но с добавлениями каких-то изменений от East versus West. И вот Декстер подал пример, что если локоть отскочил, но спортсмен не получил преимущество, это не считается за фол, потому что это влияет на зрительский опыт негативно.
Мгм.
Вот. И помимо этого, с нашей небольшой подачи, подсказки, возможно, будут правила переведены на различные языки, чтобы во всех странах, включая Россию, люди могли на родном языке эти правила читать. Вот. Это ответ на вопрос.
По поводу читать на родном языке, особенно перевод для России, если вдруг ему нужно, чтобы кто-то четко, красиво перевел видео на русский с английского, то он знает, к кому обратиться. К собрату по роду.
He's just saying that if sometime you need audio translation for the video, he's a voice actor who can help as well. The
Oh,
brother
really?
Rhoda, yeah.
Oh, I can tell. Look at that soundproofing
Oh
and
yeah,
and
he
and
knows
all his
what's going
professional
on.
setup. So yeah,
I'm professional
Um,
voice actor.
nice.
Так, в общем, вот такой вопрос по поводу касательно правил, когда они появятся на сайте. Дорогие зрители, если вы вдруг прослушали, то скоро появятся не только правила на сайте в текстовом варианте, но и в видеоформате на все языки переведенные. Так что следите, это будет интересно, это никто не делал ранее. Декстер, твое мнение по поводу появления частных промоушенов, таких как Arm AWC, LPL, MAC и так далее.
Mhm. Dexter, partially thanks to East versus West, we have a lot of new leagues popping out, developing. And that's good for the sport. But what is your vision on that? How do you consider them? Are they your competitors? Are they your allies? Do you get inspiration from some of the new stuff that they do? Share your thoughts, please.
So matter of fact, yesterday I was on the 98 arm wrestling podcast, right? You know, they have their own league. They host a lot of different events. Uh, what I'm getting from is that it's they can also be viewed as feeder leagues because East versus West can only host so many events a year because we are not a very big company, right?
Mhm,
But we need to have a lot of uh, new eyes on the sport. So they are also creating fans. And when fans come on, guess what? They're going to see who is the best arm wrestler in the world. Oh, Levon. Where's Levon polling? Oh, at East versus West. You see what I'm saying? So it actually helps us. That's
yeah.
one. Two, we also need, when I say feeder leagues, I'm thinking more along the lines of even athletes, right? New athletes. We
Mhm,
cannot just keep using the same athletes. Over time, at some point
yeah.
they'll retire. How do we get new guys in? We need to see, their capability. And one way is that they work their way up by
Mhm,
competing locally and then, regionally, maybe internationally, right? Over time, we'll start paying attention to what of some of these feeder leagues and how they perform, and then we'll be able to determine. I think he's pretty good. He won this guy. He won this guy. He won this guy. So I'll give you an example. So in Chicago, we had uh, a guy came, Wallace Dilly,
mhm.
right? It was it was Robert and I. Well, Robert knows Wallace for a while now, right?
He's been
Uh,
there. Oh yeah.
yeah, he's been a while. But what happened was why he was invited because Robert pulled him, I think, Wallace, I think in 2023 or 2024, and
Mhm,
Robert beat Wallace. Like, oh yeah, no problem. And then we attended a super match event. It's called the Underground,
mhm,
and Robert and I we were just watching, and Wallace won the whole tournament, like the whole super match. I mean,
mhm.
I think he won in the finals. He won Marcio Barbosa. So
Yeah.
we were like, whoa, he has next level jumped up, way better than when the last time Robert pulled him, right? So Robert admitted like I was wrong. Like he's actually pretty good, you know. And so guess what? Because we saw it in person how good he was, we brought him in. We brought him to East versus West to pull, right? That's what we are saying, that all these small leagues and all the small all the smaller competitions and tournaments and super matches that is being held, the small events, helps us bring attention to who are some of the athletes we should be inviting as well.
That's a positive side of it, but in terms of like best athletes, would you restrict, for example, your top athletes to compete in different leagues, even if the rule set is different, the table is different, for example, or not necessarily because again, it's a big sport,
uh
a
I
small world
kind of mentioned this, like at some point we still need to have some level of uh
contract.
correct. So the contracts are in place to help prevent uh it's not to it's preventing other leagues or promotions to poach some of our athletes. Okay. And the reason why we have to protect that is that if there is no contracts and everyone can pull everywhere in the world, then there is no clear leader in the sport. And if there's no clear leader in the sport, nobody can really take lead and kind of become the de facto leader in
Mhm.
championing arm wrestling.
It's also
Okay.
hard to pull because somebody can get injured and your card is screwed. And
Well, that's a really big thing. So that's why we are also hesitant most of the time. But in the past, we have been okay if we feel like the athletes, uh, it's sometimes we also don't want to fully restrict them, so they need to ask permission, and occasionally we'll say okay, depending on the time and the outcome and everything. It's like if Devon's pulling in 2 weeks, right, and 2 weeks after a current event, and he wants to pull in a super match, we'll probably say no, right? Same with any contracted athlete because it's too dangerous, it's too close, right? Something like that. But for the most part, uh, I know it feels very selfish, but I think just like other sport, they need to have a clear organization that is championing it with the very best, and then there's everybody like surrounding it and supporting them. Because okay, here's a new scenario. New scenario. Okay. Devin only stays in America. Levon only stays in Georgia, right? Vitali only stays in Russia.
very
And
simple story.
right. And then we're back to square one. We won't be able to push arm wrestling to the next level. Right. So what Ingen did was really good. Right. He brought them all together. Right. He put them all in the same organization. And
Yep.
that's why we've never experienced such massive growth in arm wrestling until the past few years. Especially we are seeing it massively, grow in parts of Asia, right? Massive parts in North America, much faster than ever before, right? Because I think now we are really seeing the very best from all East and West competing.
Understood. So basically, if we're looking from macro point of view, contracts would be necessary for top athletes to secure their state as their top athletes. But for the newcomers, from prospects, they're free to compete wherever they want as long as they make their name. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is the goal, correct? I mean, we want them to do better and better and better. I'll give you an example, right? Ricard Borman is not a contracted athlete. He just won once.
Yeah,
But if
he's a
he
young
guess what? Correct. If he continues to keep winning and winning and winning and winning, eventually we'll start. This guy has a bright future. Let's sign him. That's how it is, right?
But does it mean that it's going to be extra beneficial for him to be signed to have a contract? Because from another point, it's a liability as well, because you have to provide certain level of events for him to make a living, right?
Correct. But that is a trade-off, because at this point he's worth it,
Mm,
right? But we don't sign it way too early. Like after winning one event, he's not getting a contract, because who knows? Maybe he was, maybe Wallace was sick that day. He wasn't feeling so well. That's why he won, right? So he needs to win a couple more, couple times, and then we will reconsider and see. I'm just giving him as one of the examples, right? That
sure, sure, I
uh,
understand.
yeah.
But for example, let's say we have a very strong prospective athlete looking at the stream right now. Could you please draw a roadmap for him? Like at what stage, does he need to do to compete at East versus West? What would be his benefits if he stays without the contract? When can he get a contract? What does he get from that? It's like an algorithm.
So okay, so the process is one of the fastest way, right? And this one I completely agree. And this one, I'm not a professional arm wrestler, but just being around Robert and Ingrid for a while, they always respect WAF World Champion, right? If you win WAF World Champion, you immediately get attention, okay?
Mm,
And then when you start pulling, super matches with other, uh, you know, or tournaments at a very, very high level, you get attention, right? In the very near future, we'll be setting up some level of a more structured world qualifier type events,
mhm,
but there'll be also regional qualifiers. We're going to partner with local reputable people to
mhm,
run the events, where therefore we can capture a lot of their data
mhm,
and see how well they do even regionally. If they don't even win regionally, then it's kind of difficult to bring them on. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm,
then at some point, if they pull with an existing, uh, you know, athlete who has been to East versus West, example, right? Uh, say athlete X pulled in East versus West 17. Okay, even though he lost or he won, whatever. It's just as a benchmark, right? Oh, you know
mhm.
what? I'll just give an example. Valen Lowe from Singapore, right? He pulled against Hunter North in Arlington, East
Cool,
versus
Matt.
17, 3-2. Okay, so we kind of know where he's at. Okay,
Mhm.
and it was all about so Hunter is here,
Yeah,
and Valen's not too far off. Now, if there's a guy in you know, uh, I don't know, Philippines or Vietnam, or beats, this is Valen, and
mhm. Somebody
this
beats
new
him.
athlete beats Valen, then automatically he's like, okay, well, maybe it's time to bring him on as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's we need people to pull, win in the low levels up, going higher.
And then just a last short question, and I'll go for translation. What is more important, to be very strong or very popular? Because it's not
Very
always
strong,
the same.
very strong first. Okay, because
Hmm.
if now obviously there's exceptions, right? If you have 10 million followers and you're not an arm wrestler, I might still bring you on.
Understood. Understood.
Right? I mean, that's the whole point, and I don't want to gatekeep, and people need to also understand. We don't want to make it all about popularity contests. That's not what we're trying to do, right? But it needs to have maybe 10-20% that is used to help be entertain and also to grow the sport, right?
Hmm.
Because if we don't grow the sport, there's no new money coming in, and there's if you're not moving, they always say, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards,
Hmm.
right? So we need some kind of collaboration as well. For instance, look at how the collaboration did in from King of the Table 13, right? Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall, they came in. Brian loves it, loves arm wrestling. Guess what? He's still training and practicing on a regular basis, and now we're even doing a collaboration with him, right? So it's just one of those. Uh, The other guy that I like is Anatoly. I would love to see Anatoly someday train in arm wrestling. So, but just to clarify everybody, it's not about a popularity contest. Now, what I say is, you ask which is more important. I say strength is still more important,
Yeah.
right? But popularity also helps. Also
Okay.
helps because
Simple.
ultimately it also helps sales pay-per-view because
Mhm.
they help promote. See,
Mhm.
the key combination, right, is like, I would say people can't really argue this fact that Devin is the most popular arm wrestler, at least in the Western world. I don't know about Russia, but in the Western world, he's the most popular, right? And he's also a really good puller. So he has the secret sauce to be the top guy that we invite back more often right? Uh, Whereas you can see there are some really, really popular athletes, but they're not as good puller. So they get invites, but they don't get invited all the time.
Mhm.
I don't have to
Understood.
mention names, but you can guess some of these athletes.
All right, we'll figure it out. Thank you. Смотрите, что касается конкуренции. Во-первых, прошу прощения, немножко долго это было, но сейчас все расскажу. В принципе, отношение позитивное, поскольку они их смотрят как, так сказать, доноров. То есть это кузница кадров, которая развивается, которая создает для них новых спортсменов. То есть, вот, например, история Волоса Дилли. Это достаточно известный спортсмен в Америке, но профессионально он до этого особо не выступал. И даже Роберт его знает достаточно давно, но они вместе когда-то боролись, и Роберт у него побеждал, он не считал, что это какой-то сильный спортсмен.
Мгм.
Однако они с Декстером как-то приехали на соревнования Underground, которые тоже в Штатах проходили, и Волос там разнес всю свою категорию, после чего был приглашен в основной карт East vs. West.
Мгм.
То есть в этом плане хорошо, что много лиг, хорошо, что они развиваются, потому что это положительно сказывается на спорте в целом. Дальше последовал небольшой вопрос на тему контрактных обязательств, потому что все-таки конкуренция есть, и
Мгм.
лучшие должны бороться с лучшими. И получается, контрактные обязательства, они защищают элиту спорта и сильнейшую лигу от того, что спортсмены просто не могут между собой встретиться и нет возможности выяснить, кто на самом деле сильнейший в мире. То есть
Логично.
если Ларратт будет в Америке, Ливан будет в Грузии, Виталий будет в России, и они никогда не пересекутся, это будет плохо для спорта, поэтому сильнейшая лига должна создать условия, чтобы обязать их на контрактных обязательствах выступать в этой лиге. Я спросил еще от себя немножко, что как мог бы нарисовать путь к успеху для какого-то там спортсмена, который хотел бы когда-нибудь стать чемпионом East versus West. Он говорит, что путь простой. Несколько параллельных вариантов. Либо самый простой, ты становишься чемпионом мира в АФ, и автоматически получаешь интерес от East versus West, иронично. Либо ты проходишь один из отборочных турниров, которые они планируют проводить по всему миру. Сейчас они имеют в планах развивать это направление дополнительно, чтобы в каждой стране был представитель, как, например, вот он коротко обмолвился про Мэтта Роуза и Кьюсона, что такая возможность есть. Вот. Либо нужно побить кого-то из текущего карда East vs. West. То есть если есть спортсмен, который уже боролся в East vs. West, и ты можешь с ним публично побороться, побори его, и на тебя обратят внимание.
М.
Если говорить о том, что важнее, сила или медийка, Декстер считает, что все-таки это спорт, и спортсмен должен быть сильным. То есть если у него есть 1 000 000 подписчиков, то, конечно же, это интересно, и можно его пригласить, но в противном случае 80/20 соотношение, которое необходимо для того, чтобы на тебя обратили внимание. Ты должен быть сильным, ты должен бороться чемпионов, и ты должен заниматься своей медийкой обязательно, потому что это продает просмотры. Точка.
А, Кстати говоря, нас смотрят очень значимые люди для армрестлинга, для текущей ситуации. И вообще, например, Амин Аликберов. Ой, Ильмар, Амин, говорю. Ильмар Аликберов. Смотрит у нас представитель Бенджи МАС, вот этой лиги на Ютубе. Да и вообще куча всех. Вообще все значимые люди сейчас на этом стриме. Так что такой момент.
He's saying that we're being viewed by some of the Russian event organizers as well at the moment, so they might find this interesting.
Right?
Так, что у нас
Кстати
дальше, Эрик?
говоря, у нас есть графический дизайнер с профильным образованием, который может делать красиво и хорошо. Помимо того, что есть человек, который может переводить и озвучивать, в нашей команде есть еще и графический дизайнер, который может рисовать постеры любой сложности на всех
Oh,
языках.
Dexter, by the way, a small pause for Ed. Have you seen our channel on Telegram? Have you had a chance to look at the news?
Yeah, I've seen posts like you do regular updates, and I think last night you posted one with all the summary and just like bullet point form. I've seen some, but I don't read Russian, so there's only so much I can do. But
What
yeah,
do you think about the visuals?
the visuals, yeah, that's pretty good.
Because we also have a team of designer who works specifically for the visuals. In his life, he's a professional designer, and he does it as well for arm wrestling. So just a small highlight for future.
Sure.
Эрик, что у нас дальше?
Дальше сократим немножечко вопросы, перейдем к самым-самым интересным. Предлагаю сделать так, потому что мы немножко подзатянулись, но тем не менее, я думаю, всем интересно, народ их смотрит куча. И поэтому вопрос про всеми любимого спортсмена. Имеет ли Ларратт влияние и пытается ли он изменить правила? Имеет ли Ларратт долю в компании East vs West?
So the question that you have earlier anticipated, the question about the most loved arm wrestler in the world, Devon Llarratt. Could you please?
No, back up for a second.
Yeah.
I didn't say most love.
No,
I said most popular.
that's
most
the
popular.
joke from Russian side. In Russia, he's
Oh.
called the most loved arm wrestler in brackets because of his trash talk to Vitaly. So he gets a lot of bad rap for that. So the question is, you already partially answered, but first of all, he a member of East versus West ownership or not? What is his role at the moment?
His role is exactly the same as Lavon, Vitali, and Hermes, and they are athletes. The only difference is Devon talks a lot and more outspoken, right? Let's just be honest. That's what he is. He talks a lot, right? And he has a big character, right? He's very flashy and showy, right?
Mhm.
That's his style, but that does not mean he runs the company, right? I mean, like, look at this whole situation. Not
Yeah.
once has East versus West, from the official standpoint, we defended him or supported him, especially for him. We did nothing, right? If he was an owner, wouldn't he use the official channel and say things to support him and
But
defend him when he's getting attacked from some of the other athletes or from the fans? No, we do no such thing. So just the same as every athlete.
can you share the thoughts where this rumor comes from, why, and also from your argument? Maybe he's just fulfilling the void that exists in terms of communication from the league to the fans, and he used it to manipulate the news, basically.
Well, so I can see how that might appear to be so, right? I mean, it's not any news that Devon and Ingrid has, they are like oil and water,
Mhm.
right? And I believe a lot of that is due to a cultural difference,
Mm.
right? There's no right or wrong. It's just different. Now, to clarify, I'm from the East, so I know what, but I've also spent a lot of time in the West. So I kind of see both points. But
Mhm.
the point of to get back on why Devon is perceived that way is because when he doesn't like something, he will tell the whole world that he doesn't like something.
Mhm.
And just because that Ingen is currently not part of East versus West, and he was in the green room in Chicago, he's the one. I think
Mhm.
everybody heard his his speech is just like, hey, Ingen's not here, but let's move on without Ingen.
Mhm,
We can still make arm wrestling great, etc. and everything.
mhm,
He controlled that. He kind of was kind of the speaker in that
mhm,
room. He wasn't the only speaker. Robert was the speaker, and then Devon came on and he jumped on. But it's just his character. He just comes on and he speaks. So people, kind of spread the rumor that, oh, you see the way that he's conducting himself, it's like he's an owner. Like
mhm,
now it's made known that I'm the new owner. I also don't speak. I didn't really speak very much in the room as well, right?
mhm.
So does it mean that if I don't speak, I'm not an owner, and if I speak a lot, am I an owner? So anyway, there's a lot of that misconception happening around, but more importantly is that it's just his character. It's just his character. Like look back, 9 years ago when he at WL, it's also still his character,
But
right?
in
He's a
WL
loud and big person.
in WL, he was involved in actual the creating the rules and table the pads. He admitted this on his
Do,
channel a while
do,
ago.
do you know why? Because the guy who ran WL is not an arm wrestler.
So he did
But
some
guess what?
consultancy for him.
Yeah, you're right. The guy wasn't an arm wrestler, right? If I started a new league, I'm
Mhm.
not making rules. I'm getting the athletes to make the rules for me because I don't know anything about arm wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
But
If you
that's
were to
quite
play
a
an
difficult ethical
what?
point, though. Like you're an athlete and you're creating the rules for the league. It's kind of
No, no, no,
tricky.
no. Because that is because the owner doesn't know. But this time the owner is a WAF, 7-time WAF world
Yeah.
champion and still competing. It's different. He has his own opinions,
Mm,
right? Like one of the biggest thing Devon has been saying for a really, really, really super long time,
mhm.
running fouls, right? We did not give in to him. We said no to running fouls. It changes too much of for the viewing experience. He thinks it's better, but I think there's a lot of downsides to it too, right? So we disagree on that. So there are a lot of rules that okay, can somebody name me one rule that Devon Llarratt wants that is now a change since we took over, in the past 9 months?
But that's the
Can
thing. We
anybody
don't know
name
the rules because they're not listed yet.
okay, but what rules have been made or enforced in the event
So
that
basically, King
is
of the Table rule set has been changed to course to East versus West standards. They're the same rules at the moment, and there are no more
correct,
running fouls in both leagues, right?
correct,
Okay,
correct.
understood.
So yeah, I'm telling you, nobody can tell me that we have made a specific rule or a change in the past 8-9 months that supports Devon and it's against everybody else. Basically, I know what everybody's arguing. It's like, is this move supporting or against the King's move? Right?
No,
I mean,
uh,
that's
it
what I've been hearing quite a bit about. But no, I'm telling you, there's no rule change, and very soon, okay, trust me, in about a week, a published rule set will be up, and everybody will see exactly what the rules is, updated to the latest point, and you will see none of it has been changed
that
and
actually might be the
enforced in
major
a while.
news of today that the rules will be published. Many people are looking forward to it. Um,
Yeah,
understood.
I'll try to get it with a Russian translation. So there's two sets. So I'll try to do it at the same time. So thanks for reminding me to get that done as well. But
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you.
yeah. And
Uh,
again, if translation there might be translation errors. Don't blame me. The English rule set would be held at a higher standard. So
makes sense.
yeah.
Sense. Собственно говоря, основной ответ заглавными буквами капсулкам нет. Девон
Мгм.
не является собственником, не имеет долей, не влияет на правила. Это просто Девон. Он много говорит, он очень громкий, и он заполняет тишину, которую создают другие. И за счет этого создается впечатление, что он заговорит за кого-то. По
Мгм.
факту, вот Декстер привел пример, WL, там, действительно у него было такое влияние, потому что собственник WL, он не был армрестлером, он не разбирался в этом, поэтому Ларратт помог создать там правила. К чему это пришло? К большим подушкам и к новым правилам. Running fouls и
Нифига
так далее.
себе.
Ам, В «Короле столе» и в «Короле стола» и в East vs. West, «Восток против Запада», Девон никак не влияет на правила. Он может озвучить свои желания, их могут услышать, их могут принять, а могут не принять. Потому что у всех спортсменов есть это правило. Его работа — быть спортсменом и состязаться. Так же, как Ливан, так же, как Эрмес, так же, как Виталий. Ам, Декстер попросил привести пример, есть ли хоть одно правило, которое бы имплементировал Ларратт в текущую организацию, заранее объяснив, что running foul, бегущий фол, который не отмечается сразу, был уже отменен в обеих лигах, и в «Короле стола», и в «Востоке против Запада». Может быть, кто-то в комментариях нам напишет, если такие правила получится поймать.
Да, это очень интересное правило по поводу running fall и вот этот новый свод, уменьшение подушек и так далее. Ну, в общем, то, что мы имеем на сегодня, это прежние правила. Прежние
Да,
правила, и разве что касательно апелляции, она одна за один раунд. Если вам в
да, то
ней
есть размер
откажут,
подушки
то
не меняется, специальных правил для для Kings Move тоже не планируется.
вот. Это ответ на вопрос касательно правил, который беспокоит всех, в том числе профессиональных спортсменов. Никакой смены правил. Так и запишите. Официальный ответ.
Да.
Конечно же, турнир в Баку. Самая животрепещущая тема, ну, когда-то была, сейчас она немножко уже подзаветрилась, но тем не менее, все равно интересно. Турнир в Баку, причины его отмены и по поводу новой даты турнира в Баку. 27 сентября это фейк или правда?
So another hot topic, which is getting colder slowly, but still interesting, Azerbaijan, the event in Baku. Are we waiting for it? Is it happening or not? Because there have been some rumors that we have a new date in September 27 or something like that. Is it true or false?
So, but when you set up an event, there are multiple different requirements, right? Obviously, the first thing we need to do is to make sure we have the event, a venue. We also need to have hotels, and one of the key components is also the matches.
Mhm.
And what we found that almost 80% of the pay-per-view sold, it's attributed to only maybe 20% of the matches, right? That's kind of like the
There's a
golden rule of thumb.
I
Yeah.
might have misunderstood you. Could you please elaborate about the pay-per-view?
So 80% of the pay-per-views revenue comes from 20% of the card.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. And so with that in mind, it goes to show how important the headliner match is.
Mhm.
Okay. So we are still trying to find a headliner for the event.
Mhm.
That's what's happening. That's literally the only thing that's holding us slightly back. Now, 27 is a proposed date. Now, again, we have never signed anything quite yet, right? Robert and I, we are still working with Elmar. We have, we are, we are still looking for that headliner. But the reason why it's 27 because WAF Wolves is on 20th, and we don't want to conflict with that. So it's either 13 or the 27.
Mhm.
That is what we are looking at. But with some of the um, turmoil, within the arm wrestling world, with Ingen's departure, some of we're just trying to get the athletes. Once we get the athletes for the headliners, then it's probably a go. It's probably a
So,
go.
if I'm understanding correctly, the issue is that at the moment there is still this a small riot of athletes who don't want to pull with East versus West until Engin is back, and that's why we don't have a match in Baku, or there is something else, and I'm just misunderstanding.
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of got straight to the point. There is a lot of truth to that, right? There are I think over time some athletes will realize that Robert Baxter is not a bad guy. He
Мгм.
might be really soft spoken, but he's an extremely intelligent guy and a world class, puller,
Мгм.
right? When they realize that Robert has no intention to only favor, uh, you know, Devon or any other athlete, right? There's no biasness any whatsoever, no rule changes. Then I believe some of the athletes will kind of see his perspective. But for now, for the short period, there is a number of athletes who's refusing to pull until Ingen is back. So
М.
this makes it really challenging to set an event up not knowing if we can get commitments from the athletes to pull.
М. And it cannot be solved by just using Western pullers or pullers who have not been working with Engin closely before. Maybe somebody new, but popular. It has to be East versus West according to the concept. Yeah.
Well, so I mean, if we are using only Western poles, then why do it in Baku?
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier to just do it in another, just do it in my backyard in Utah,
but still, it's a
right? You
time
know what I'm
zone.
saying?
Like for example, the event in Colorado is going to be like 5 or 6 a.m. local time. So a lot of people will not wake up for that. Most likely, I don't know. Maybe some will do. So like this is a middle ground for different time zones as well.
But Baku, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We recognize that, and we always try to, in the past, especially, we try to put it in a time zone where at least the Europeans and the Americans can watch it, right?
Hmm.
But you know, here's another thing I just want to throw out, right? What about the
Please.
Asians? What about the Asians?
Yeah, Yoshiki and I was amazing. It was interesting to watch the way he fought
No,
with
so what
Saunders.
I'm saying about time zones, if we look time zones 24 hours, we divide by three time zones because it's 8 hour blocks,
Yeah,
because 8 hours is how much people sleep.
yeah.
There's always one time zone that's going to be neglected, right? If we show it in Europe, we show it in America, Asia is sleeping. If we
Of
show it
course.
in America and we show it in Asia, Europe is sleeping. So what I'm saying is for the longest time, Asia has always been neglected.
Represented.
So
Yeah.
maybe this time around, it's a small change. I know it may seem like we are against the showing it in the Europe, but that's not the case. It's There's
Hmm.
actually a simple explanation. When on Friday night, when Robert and I were stressed out, like not knowing if Baku was going to happen because we didn't hear back from them for a
Hmm.
while, so we were like, okay, let's call Brian Shaw, right? So we called Brian Shaw, and Brian says, "Hey, so Saturday and Sunday it's the strongman event, but
Hmm.
we could do Friday. Let's do
Hmm.
Friday." So we were like, "Okay, let's do Friday."
Hmm.
That's why it came to Friday. It was just as simple as that. It was the only available timing that we could slot in with Brian's event. It was not a play with time zones or anything like that. It was just what was available to us.
Sometimes the truth is very unexpected.
It's just a simple answer.
Yeah.
There's not so much calculative planning. I mean, even Brian came out and admitted that he got a phone call on Friday night and he bought his tickets at 10:30 or something to fly the next morning to
Remember.
our event. So it's really not a crazy conspiracy. It's just that was the only event that we have.
Understood, understood. Thank you. I'll translate. Собственно говоря, возвращаясь к вопросу о Баку. Когда планируется мероприятие, важно учитывать несколько моментов. То есть первое, естественно, найти место проведения ивента. Второе– это отель. Ам, Но нужно еще понимать, что важно составить интересный карт. И в данной ситуации очень важный момент, что 80% дохода приходит от 20% матчей. То есть продаются топовые поединки мейн-карт.
Мгм.
В данной ситуации организаторы столкнулись с большой проблемой в связи с
Отменой.
происходящим бунтом,
Мгм.
и то, что многие бойцы сейчас бойкотируют события, они не могут сделать мейн-карт достаточно интересным, чтобы эта затея окупилась. И Поэтому они сейчас постоянно переносят даты. Они хотят провести 27 сентября, потому что 20 будет чемпионат мира в ВАФ, и они не хотят с этой датой соприкасаться, то есть 27 вроде как подходит. Но основная задача, которая перед ними сейчас стоит, это найти, создать карт, который будет интересен, который будет продаваться. Вот, и как бы они продолжают работать с Эльмаром, то есть Роберт, Декстер и Эльмар, они коммуницируют, они
Мгм.
работают, но сейчас основная проблема в этом. Вот. И помимо этого нужно помнить еще про часовые пояса. То есть их смотрят в Америке, их смотрят в Европе, их смотрят на Востоке, в странах Азии в том числе. И получается всегда, что если турнир проходит в Америке, азиаты могут посмотреть, но Европа спит. Если проходит в Европе, всем остальным неудобно. Соответственно, нужна какая-то ротация, и получается, что вот ивент в Колорадо их в этом плане во многом выручает, потому что они могут с разными зонами временными поработать. Но, говоря откровенно, получилось так, что это все совпало просто по везению. То, что они договорились с Брайаном Шоу провести ивент, и единственный день, когда они могли это сделать в рамках большого события, которое организует Брайан Шоу, это была пятница. Поэтому им приходится это делать в пятницу.
Мгм.
Вот так вот.
Ну и под занавес последний вопрос, так сказать, это, конечно же, который вопрос обсуждался очень сильно в общественности, это привоз Девона Ларратта в Сибирию. Денис Кьютсон предложил провести турнир их армфайт Виталий Лалитин, Девон Ларратт в рамках Siberian Power Show, соответственно, в Сибири. Возможен ли такой сценарий?
Mhm. So we know we took a lot of time already, but so it's going to be the last question. But it's a very hot topic in Russia. It's very much discussed among the athletes. What are the odds of bringing Devon Laratt to Siberia to fight, for example, Vitaly Lalitin or maybe somebody else? Because we have major organizer, and Denis Kiyutin, Matt Rhodes. They're capable of helping you to organize this, provide the visas and stuff like that. So would it be possible eventually?
I mean, it's I cannot speak for Devin or I cannot speak for Vitaly, right? Because we can offer the matches to them, but it's their right to turn it down.
Mhm,
Um, just like every other athlete out there, we give them a choice. And in regards to if Devin, well, I mean, we'll go to Siberia because I know there has been a little bit of talk. We've been proposed to see if we can do something in Siberia, the Siberian Power event roads and everything.
mhm,
It was offered to us. We have not accepted or we have not rejected it for many reasons because we just haven't had the time to analyze this potential partnership or collaboration.
mhm.
But all I can see is this: Devin has been pulling for
Non-stop.
over and over. I think so. This year he pulled in Georgia, right? He pulled in Arlington. He skipped Istanbul and he pulled in Chicago. So he already pulled 3 times, and he'll be pulling in Colorado. Okay, so which means he's already pulling 4 times, 4 times, right? And now you look at other athletes, say, just like every other athlete out there, nobody pulls in a super match as often as Devin. So what's happening right now is he was he's taking a break to kind of recover a little bit. I was told that after Chicago, he's considering dropping his weight down a little bit. Maybe not pull at the super heavy, right? Just to uh, kind of recover a little bit, right? So because of that, he's going to be taking a short break, maybe 2 events. I don't know. So, I mean, the possibility of him pulling Siberia, there is a possibility. It's not zero,
Mhm,
but it won't happen in the next after Colorado. It won't happen in the next 2 events. At least that's what I've been told. Right
mhm.
now, obviously, for every arm wrestler out there, I mean, it's a no. It's not 100% no, unless he breaks his arm, right? But even if he breaks his arm, if you give me $1 million, I'm
Good
pretty
one.
sure anybody will pull with a broken arm. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
So anything can happen. That's what I'm saying. But it's not 0%.
So if reading between the lines, it depends a lot about what the receiving side offers as well.
Yeah, yeah. It depends what we've been offered. to go there because obviously and we have to figure out all the visa issues. Can athletes, from the West enter Russia, right? But according to Matt Rhodes, he says no problem. I can figure all that out for you, right? So there's a lot of things that we gotta just have to figure out ahead of time. How are we gonna sell the pay-per-view? If the stream is coming from Russia, is there like anything that's blocking us from selling it outside of Russia? Those sort of things that we gotta figure it out before we even consider going to Russia. But we know for sure Russian athletes, Russian fans are super important to EvW Sports, right? That's why, like, that is the second language of all the languages out there, right? Russian is the second language that we are going to be adopting as part of what I call the localization efforts to make our content more accessible to the fans. So Russian is second. Third, we might be looking at maybe Georgian, but maybe Kazakhstan, right? Maybe Italian. It depends. But for now, Russian is the second language that we are going to be focusing on to make sure that the Russian fans at least can understand a little bit more about, the content that we're coming out with. Like we did an interview with Lavon, and it's all in English, right? I believe that soon we'll also have Russian subtitles on our YouTube channel, right?
Sweet.
So those are some of the small things that I'm trying to create within the organization so that East versus West is truly an international company where everybody can enjoy.
Small
And
things.
Russian is number 2
Thank
right
you
now.
very much. Thank you. Understood. Ответ на вопрос. Была связь. Пока что ответ ни да, ни нет. Это зависит от многих факторов, но нужно учитывать такие вещи. Девон Ларратт в последнее время борется нон-стопом. И в этом году у него уже будет 4-й матч скоро. И после этого он возьмет перерыв на 2 турнира и бороться не планирует. И, откровенно говоря, Декстер упомянул, что он не может говорить за спортсменов, он может сделать им предложение, а не хотите ли вы поехать туда-то, чтобы побороться. Но решение будет за спортсменами, принимать это предложение или нет. Но такая мысль была озвучена, Мэтт Роудс предлагал это сделать. Он говорил, что он может заняться визами и организовать все на месте. Вот. Но между строк Декстер намекнул, что во многом это еще будет зависеть от того, насколько выгодное предложение, что им предложат. Потому что есть еще нюансы, о которых надо подумать. Это визовая поддержка, это как будет продаваться pay-per-view. Много неочевидных вещей, которые нужно обсудить, которые должны быть решены. Вот. И Декстер прекрасно понимает, что российская база фанатов, она огромная, она очень важна. Это второй язык после английского по популярности среди армрестлеров. И они это учитывают, они это знают, поэтому они работают над локализацией. И они планируют добавлять русские субтитры для видео, которые они выкладывают на YouTube. Вот. И, третий, наверное, это Грузия и Казахстан после России по популярности. Поэтому для них важно, чтобы на родном языке можно было вникать в процессы, понимать, что происходит, и погружаться в East versus West. Вот так вот.
Большое спасибо за ответ. На этом все. Большое спасибо, Декстер, тебе. Ты сделал отличную большую работу для всех фанатов русскоязычных, русскоговорящих. От лица команды Armox за это благодарю и будем на связи.
Dexter, Eric and I thank you a lot for participating in this stream. You're doing a very important job for arm wrestling and for Russian arm wrestling as well. We sincerely appreciate what you're doing. Once again, thank you, and it was a pleasure having you here today.
Well, thank you both, and thank you for all the Russian fans who have been supporting us and continue to support us. We hope to, EvW Sports can give you a great show in Colorado, and soon, maybe in the near future, we'll be in Russia with our next event. So
Fingers
who knows?
crossed. Декстер всех тоже очень благодарит. Большое спасибо фанатам. Они будут стараться делать больше интересных турниров. Надеюсь, что турнир в Колорадо всем понравится и будут дальше развиваться. Всем большое спасибо.
Большое спасибо.
Thank
Бай-бай.
you. Thank you. See you. Have a good one.
Nice.
Ой, такие дела, ребят. Такие гости. Вопросы сложные, вопросы длинные, вопросы требовали очень развернутого ответа. Поэтому было долго моментами, было затянуто, наверное, так могло показаться, но по-другому быть просто не могло, потому что кто, как не Декстер, будет отвечать на такие вопросы. Конечно, есть еще Роберт Бакстер. Конечно. Его мы бы тоже с удовольствием послушали. Я вам даже скажу, мы работаем над этим. Просто не сразу все получилось, но это не значит, что не получится. Поэтому оставайтесь на связи, подписывайтесь на канал. Подписывайтесь на канал Armvox, на телеграм-канал. Все анонсы будут там. На ютубе будут трансляции, в том числе на телеграм-канале, они тоже будут. Ну и, конечно же, Armvox имеет свой Бусти канал, где вы можете поддержать нашу деятельность чеканной монетой и заиметь всякие плюшки в виде красивых, сочных, детализированных Full HD обоев, которые весят по гигабайту и будут радовать ваш глаз, взор. На сегодня это все. Просидели мы с вами 2 часа, даже с лишним. Большое спасибо всем, кто присутствовал на этой трансляции, всем, кто был активен, писал комментарии, да и просто смотрел. Без вас всего этого бы не было. Большое всем спасибо.